The Razer Kitsune was my very first all-button arcade controller, and it has two distinguishing features that sets it apart from most of the other leverless controllers on the market. First is the way it looks with its cool, minimal aluminium face. The second is the price tag. The artist previously known as Haute42, now Cosmox, also has an aluminium topped controller. The M series, recently updated to the M+, is now bigger and the dimensions are almost identical to the Razer Kitsune. The current price of this M+? Under £99. Let's take a closer look at this controller today and see what it has to offer apart from the very attractive price. Let's start with some of the obvious stuff we can see first. The top and bottom plate is CNC aluminium. It's cold and very smooth to touch. I don't feel any bumps or nicks anywhere, no chips or dents. The quality of the build really took me by surprise, and it feels more premium than it should for the price. What's really cool about the body is that the bottom of the chin is chamfered, so it's more comfortable on the palms over a long period of time if you don't hover your hands. Even if you do hover, there might be times between games where you just want to rest your palms off to get embodied, and that's when you feel the benefit of these. The buttons are 25.8mm and rounded off at the edges, so slide movements are easier. There's a smooth matte layer on top which makes the buttons very comfortable to touch, and the glossy finish on the sides disappear into the darkness to create an illusion where the buttons look like they're floating. If you're a massive fan of RGB lights, this controller has them, but they're not prominent because the buttons aren't see-through. They're hidden away even more if you swap out the stock crystal switches. The jump button isn't aligned to the middle, but it's not so jarring because the whole cluster of buttons are roughly 4 to 4.5cm away from the edges on both sides. So even to my OCD eyes, it's uniform enough to not be an issue. All the function buttons sit nice and tidy on the top right here. We have Turbo, LS, RS, Touchpad, Home, Share, and Options. Unfortunately, there is no labeling on them, which can slow you down when you want to use them on the fly. Now, Cosmox usually provides one red and one black button nub in the packaging, but they've opted for two extra clear ones with the M16 Plus packaging. A strange choice, since this model is the one that could really use some visual guidance. If you're going to add artwork to this, you might want to add labels onto your design. Even the screen on this model looks premium. You can usually see too much of, for want of a better word, the gums of the screen on other models, but with the M16 Plus, they've framed it nicely. And just like on the other models, it's quite handy to look at when you need some quick info on what configuration it's in, like the SOCD and input modes. This is a great time to address a mistake I made in my last video where I thought the T16 referred to the controller model. It is in fact a reference to the turbo mode that's currently set. I also didn't understand the difference between RP2040 and GP2040. The GP2040 CE is an open source software aimed at running on the RP2040. One is hardware, the other is software, and that's the case here with the M16 Plus. They're fitted with RP2040s running the GP2040 CE software. So it can do all the things expected of modern leverless controllers. It has a web configurator, the firmware is updatable, and it's compatible with nearly every current gen system. Back to the physical side of things, there's one USB-C in the middle and an external port for a PS5 or Xbox dongle, like Cosmox's very own super low footprint Booter 5. I've been using this recently and it works flawlessly. I haven't had any dropouts and don't feel any input latency. It's also less pricey than the Brookwingman, which has a massive footprint. Use the link in the description to get yours and support my channel. Round the back, there are 4 non-slip pads to keep it secure on tables, and Cosmox has opted for flat screws on this model, which is another nice little detail. The rounded screws on other models like the G16 and R16 can cause scratches if you're not careful. I know because I've already scratched this controller and my Kitsune when trying to get some fancy shots for these reviews. Don't be an idiot like me. Speaking of the Kitsune, these two controllers are quite similar, right? I was being cheeky in my intro. The Kitsune has distinguishing features beyond looks and the price. But why would you want to spend more than twice for the Kitsune when you can buy the M Plus with a boot of 5 and even mod the switches for half the price of Razer's controller? Let's compare the two. The aluminium body is great on both controllers, but they do differ slightly. The Cosmox has a smoother finish and it feels thicker. As mentioned earlier, I scratched both of these controllers, but the scratch shows up clearer on my Kitsune. The Kitsune also sounds more hollow than the densely built Cosmox. You can feel this when you pick it up and hear it when hitting buttons or knocking the chassis. As a result of this, the Cosmox feels more robust and premium than the Kitsune. The Kitsune also picks up grease a lot easier and requires a bit of water to clean properly. The handprints on the M Plus can be dealt with by my cloth alone. I spoke about the chamfered chin on the M Plus earlier, and the Kitsune has this too. In fact, if you look closer, the Kitsune has chamfered all 4 edges of the face. This gives it a slightly softer appearance overall, whilst the M Plus has an angled industrial look. Both controllers have a see-through layer in the middle. The Kitsune's one has a smoky finish with dedicated lights near the edge, and the M Plus has a crystal finish but relies on a button LEDs to travel to the edge. Players resting the controller on their lap won't really notice this edge lighting during play on either model. It's more obvious for table players. Speaking of resting on the lap, this is a lot more comfortable with the Kitsune because of the large rubber base. You'll have to brace yourself for a cold shock with the M Plus, which is great during hot summers, but on any other day, it's not so fun. The Kitsune has a slightly larger chin, and I'm a big fan of large chins on leverless controllers because I have lazy hands. The M Plus chin is only 10mm shorter, and I feel the smooth edge more clearly. For reference, my hands are 190mm long from my middle finger to the bottom of my palm. The Kitsune button caps are perfect for sliding. They're lower, smoother and rounder at the edges than the M16 button caps, which are still easier to slide on than Cosmox's other models, but Kitsune is the unbeatable king of this. That's not to say the M16's button caps aren't good. In fact, I really like them for everything else. They have a matte finish that strikes the middle ground between comfort and grip, and they feel solid. Other than the jump button, the gaps are uniform between all of the action buttons. The gaps on the Kitsune are uneven in places and they feel wider apart. When it comes to the switches under those button caps, I'm finding it really hard to enjoy the Kitsune after trying the crystal switches and especially the wind engine switches. Using the Cosmox's switches has made me realise how rattly, mushy and heavy the Razer switches feel. The function keys on Cosmox's controllers have never been the best, but on the M16, the tighter, deeper holes in the chassis does improve them a lot. The Kitsune has it beat here with the distinctive shapes, onboard labelling, a tournament lock and even a fully functioning touchpad. Now let's talk about one feature that the Razer's controller has a clear advantage on. It has native PS5 compatibility, so it's almost guaranteed to run and get required updates throughout the PS5's lifecycle. You do have to pay for this privilege though, and when the Kitsune was first released, they were allowed to charge whatever they wanted due to this feature and limited availability of other similar controllers. The M Plus requires a dongle like the Buta 5 that I mentioned before. It's incredibly affordable at just £29, but we do have to trust that Cosmox will support it in the long term. If you don't already own a leverless and you're interested in a Kitsune, you've probably already guessed where I'm leaning with this. It's very hard to recommend a Kitsune when the M Plus comes in at less than half the price. How is it even possible that this controller looks and feels like the premium product out of the two? It's kind of insane the amount of value that Cosmox has packed into this controller. If you already have a Kitsune, do I recommend that you buy the M16 Plus? No, but I do recommend that you experiment with some different switches if possible. Those Razer switches aren't it. Buying an arcade controller to play games is a complete lie. We're all here for the mods, so the good news is that the M Plus is just as moddable as Cosmox's other popular models. The buttons pop off easily, and from there we can use the included switch puller to remove the switches. It's quite a fiddly thing, so my advice is to slide your index finger into the groove, grip the prongs with your thumb and middle finger, and the most important part is to squeeze hard. You can't be delicate with this or you'll risk slipping and scratching either the switches or the aluminium finish. I'm using Cosmox's own wind engine switches, which is a collab with Kale. They're not see-through like the stock crystal switches, so the LED lights will suffer, but since the stock button caps hinder the lights anyway, I'm just going to double down. The M16's solid chassis combined with the wind engines are a perfect combination if you enjoy the thok. If you're new to that word, it comes from the mechanical keyboard community as an onomatopoeia for a deep sound signature. I enjoy the sound of marbles or small stones clinking together, and this is the closest I've come to experiencing that with an all-button controller. For more info on the wind engine switches, click on the link in my description to support the channel. Changing an art is a bit more difficult with the M series compared to the other models because you'll need to find a service that can print on stickers. It's also harder to hide cutting mistakes because the art sits directly on top of the controller. I recommend using one of the cutting services found on the Discord channel. In honor of Mai's arrival to Street Fighter 6 in Season 2, I've got a print of her for today's design. Shout out to Ayano Aya on the Discord channel who printed, cut and shipped my art to me from Europe. For the speed, quality of work and communication they provided, I definitely recommend them. They can also design the art for you, which I didn't go for this time, but from what I've seen, the work is excellent. I want to apologize for what you're about to see because I completely botched the installation process, but decided I would show you what my controller looks like as a cautionary tale. If you're putting artwork on your controller, please take your time with this process. The M16 Plus is currently Cosmox's most expensive all-button controller, but even with its price tag of £99, it's still cheaper than most of the leverless controllers out there. And what makes this price even more attractive is that it doesn't skimp on the fundamentals. It's solidly built, well put together, the switches and buttons feel better than any other leverless I own. You simply can't get this much value at this price point in nearly any product category. Think about keyboards, headphones, microphones, whatever it is. At £99, you can't find a piece of kit that feels like it should cost twice as much. It's quite telling that my only issue with the M Plus is that it doesn't have labeling on the function buttons, but I can afford to get something designed, printed and cut with the money I'm saving. It's not perfect for everyone, obviously. You might prefer the M12 for less buttons. You might want the R16 to show off your favorite artwork. You might want a G series for something that fits in your man purse. So don't just blindly take my word for it. Assess what you need and make your choice. Will it be my daily driver? It does feel better than the R16 and I definitely prefer it over the Kitsune, but I will most likely be using it alongside my R16 because I enjoy the sound and feel of both controllers, and I really like how I've modded my R16. As you guys know, I'm a sucker for aesthetics. Thanks to Cosmox for sending this controller over to me. They didn't give me any instructions on what to say, so all thoughts are my own. And thanks to you for dropping by. Hit the like button if the video was helpful and subscribe for more reviews like this. If you want to find out what I think about Cosmox's newest all-button controller, click on this video.